I'm gonna give my review on 2019 World Cup final in England. It was one of the greatest matches in the cricket history and the most thrilling also, and I just wanted to give my review on how I think of it as a match. Before you watch the video, please better hit the like button on my channel, and subscribe my channel. The 2019 World Cup, one of the most thrilling matches ever in cricket history. This match was held on 14th of July 2019 in Lords between England and New Zealand. England were the hosts and New Zealand were the runners-up of the World Cup. They had made the finals in the 2015 edition and lost it in the end. So none of these teams had ever won a World Cup final before. England had lost 3 World Cup finals and New Zealand had lost the previous World Cup final. So this was going to be a real good treat for fans to see which side would be lifting their maiden trophy at the end of this match. In the semi-finals, England comfortably defeated Australia by 8 wickets in a one-sided encounter, and on the other hand, New Zealand shocked the world by defeating one of the best ODI teams in this generation, Indian team, by 18 runs despite a fight back from Dhoni and Jadeja. Final. This match had almost everything to make it a thrilling match and the most heart-stopping match ever. Some of these moments were like Liam Plunkett and Chris Woakes taking 3 wickets each, combining their tally to 6 wickets, and Henry Nicholls scoring a 55 where none of the New Zealand batsmen could survive that long, barring Tom Latham and Kane Williamson to some extent. And as the chase went on, England went tottering at 86 for 4, seemingly with New Zealand's great pace bowlers Trent Boult, Lockie Ferguson, Matt Henry. England won a spot of bother before Jos Buttler and Ben Stokes carried on them to a comfortable position, sharing a 110-run partnership and moving them closer to the victory before Jos Buttler got out to Lockie Ferguson. But one of the most game-changing moments was Trent Boult overstepping the ropes while taking Ben Stokes' catch. That could have been a World Cup winning catch because Stokes was going berserk and his wicket could have meant an absolute victory for New Zealand. I don't blame him actually. I don't want to blame him because you've got only 1 to 2 seconds to release the ball after catching it near the ropes, and it's really hard even for an experienced player. So I do not blame him. That he's also a human. He's not like a robot who can do things in an instant. And how can we forget? And the overthrows, the final ball run out, Jamie Neesham hitting that huge 6 to Jofra Archer, and the unforgettable, the immortal, the untouchable last ball, which lifted England their maiden World Cup trophy. I actually didn't sleep until the end of the match. This was actually the first time that I stayed awake till midnight, even after midnight, just for seeing one of those teams win. And it paid me really well off because England emerged victorious in the end and was supporting England in that match. And I was absolutely ecstatic that England won their first ever World Cup, that Stokes' innings ended in a winning cause after all. But that is not all. As much as I felt ecstasy for the England victory in the World Cup, I also felt really bad for New Zealand because I gotta be honest with you all, you cannot deny that New Zealand were a bit unfortunate with their loss as well, mainly because of that overthrow, Ben Stokes overthrow, and the boundary rule. They were a bit unfortunate as well. So I was really happy for England to win, but I could have been happier if both the teams had been the co-winners, because none of them actually scored more or less. They both scored equal runs at the end. Commentators and the crowd were absolutely more than exciting in this match. Ian Smith, Nasser Hussain, these are great commentators. I've heard their commentary over the past few years, and yes, boy do I get so excited listening to their commentary, because I love listening to their voices, especially with Ian Smith. Ian Smith, when he called the last ball of the World Cup, both won the England's last innings ball and Martin the New Zealand's last innings ball too. He's a great commentator from you can actually say that how much crowd means to a game. Like, see the noise of the crowd, see the noise. It really brings a difference and excitement to the game, isn't it? I want to appreciate the New Zealand keeper Kane Williamson for how he managed to come out on top of the fans. Like, he won everybody's hearts despite such heartbreaking loss. That he must have been devastated with that heartbreaking loss, but still he never blamed the rules. Never blamed the rules. That is why I became a fan of him that day, and my respect for him just increased. And now I'm one of his biggest fans. And he's a great bloke too, along with a great player, being a great player. And how can we forget that that guy was awarded the man of the series in this World Cup? He deserved it completely, because he scored more than 500 runs as a captain. He was the only consistent batsman in the New Zealand lineup along with Ross Taylor. And despite his team not being the strongest in the World Cup, he almost won them the World Cup under his captaincy. Great bloke, terrific leader, cannot deny that. And I hope that New Zealand wins some future ICC tournaments under his captaincy. There is one bloke who, like, we haven't talked about in the World Cup 2019 in the England squad. It is Liam Plunkett, one of the most underrated bowlers in this generation. We always talk about Chris Woakes, Mark Wood, but this man has silently done his job. Remember this, he didn't play all the matches in this World Cup and still became one of the biggest contributors in England's World Cup triumph, taking somewhat 11 wickets, I think. I've got to see this. Yeah, he took 11 wickets in the World Cup. His best performance, ironically, was in the final, where he took 3 crucial wickets, including one of Captain Kane Williamson. So, that guy's a really underrated bowler, and it's a really bit of shame that he doesn't play anymore. He never played a match up to this World Cup final. I don't know why England cricket removed him, cause of his fitness or what age issue. Anyway, he was really one of the biggest contributors to England. Christopher Archer, before 2 months the World Cup was held, before 2 months, he wasn't even in the England squad. So this surely raised some eyebrows on his selection. He was a bit inexperienced to play such a world stage at this time of his career, but surprisingly, he became the leading wicket taker of England in the World Cup 2019. He ended, look at this list, he ended with 20 wickets, the most by an English bowler in this World Cup. And that really is a huge achievement for someone who is playing his first ever tournament. And how can you forget that super over which he bowled to Martin Guptill and Jimmy Neesham? He defended those 16 runs in the super over. Great foot, great bloke, terrific. He's a terrific bowler, emerging bowler. He has got some really fearsome pace, and he's also a really handy batsman. Let's talk about the main person. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. The main person, Benjamin Stokes, and best all-rounder in this era, at least for me. He's the best all-rounder in this era. Whether he's in ODIs or tests, he's the best all-rounder. That guy surely played the innings of his life. This has got to be the greatest ever innings played by an Englishman in a World Cup for me, cause it's a World Cup final and he faced till the last ball and in the end emerged victorious. His not only this, his redemption story is also a very inspiring one. 4 years ago in 2016 World T20 final, England had reached into the final and Stokes to defend 19 runs versus the Windies. Unfortunately, he got smashed by Carlos Bradford for 4 sixes, losing the World Cup. And that was really, really heartbreaking for him. That agony, that pain. Then 3 years down the lane in 2019, he was a major part of England's World Cup win, playing a memorable innings in the World Cup final. Not just the World Cup final, he was consistent in the whole tournament. Like he got some really good scores against some top sides like India, South Africa, and New Zealand in the finals, and and he also got some crucial wickets at the perfect moments. So, which is why he was one of the biggest contributors of England's victory in the World. I like most about this encounter was Ben Stokes versus Trent Bolt. Imagine a World Cup final, in the last over we are heading on when we see two of the best players facing each other, Trent Bolt to Ben Stokes. That is what I like most. And every time Trent Bolt and Ben Stokes are facing one another, it reminds me of the World Cup final. And I think it does to everybody else too. Because that was Trent Bolt and Martin Guptill had the most heartbreaking days. You are still the champions in the eyes of us cricket fans. Trent Bolt is one of the best ODI bowlers in the world right now. Martin Guptill is one of the best New Zealand ODI openers, and we won't deny that. Can't deny that. It happens. Pressure happens to everybody. That is a heartbreaking loss. I feel for them. I really feel for them. As much as I felt ecstasy for England winning the World Cup, I hope that they win some future tournaments. I really want them to win. Both teams played to their heart's full potential, which actually matters more than the result. Despite if you win or lose, the more intent you show, the more respect you gain from the people. And that is what I like most about this match. That it wasn't a one-sided final, it was the closest World Cup final ever in history. That's all I have to say for this video. That was my depth of explanation, and I hope you liked it all. Please mention the comment section box if you like my explanation, if you want to rate it. That is all for this video. Bye bye.